Hey everybody, it's Tom from MTG Spec. It's about 5:10 a.m. and I am camped out in front of my favorite ever comic book store. Um, Today we're going to talk about Bad Idea because that's why I'm here. I'm here to get the next Bad Idea button. Last time I was here, I was getting the one for Refuse X-Class Resorts, which was had some incredible art by the great Marguerite Sauvage. Today I'm picking up Odin's Eye, which is even more incredible across the board. It's a very vengeful telling of this young girl who is blessed and cursed by Odin with a quest to retrieve his missing eye so that he can have the wisdom to win Ragnarok. It's wild. It's such a good book. The art is sumptuous. If you're a Conan fan or just a folklore fan and you can find it, grab it. It's possibly Bad Idea's best series to date, and that's saying a lot. I love their stuff. But I wanted to talk about Bad Idea and give a brief history because um, last time I was here, I was kind of went on about the button program and the Bad Idea fans on Facebook is kind of a funny little group to follow. They debate on whether we should be called pinheads or baddies. But we're seeking the gold of the buttons, and that unites us all. And some of us send them off for rocks, as I discussed earlier. But we won't get into that today. But right here, I printed out the rules. So when Bad Idea launched, there was Dinesh Shamdasani, Warren Simons. I forgot all the participants, but those were two of the co-founders. They'd worked previously. I think Warren had been an editor at Marvel. Dinesh had worked at Valiant Comics. And he still proclaims himself as a Valiant fan. But they wanted to make comics for comic fans without all the rigmarole, and they wanted to do like really high quality books. But they had chosen to follow sort of a boutique audience, so it wasn't it wasn't going to be for everybody. And they figured there'd be like maybe 10 stores initially that would do it, and then that ballooned to 100, and then by the time they launched, it was about 200 stores. But these were the rules that they made retailers agree to before they would agree to sell them books. So all stores participating in their destination stores in the destination program agree to the following rules for Bad Idea product. Rule number 1, limit one per customer. Now that's a pretty controversial thing already because the flippers, I don't call them scalpers. I actually have a favorable view of scalping. I think it saves lives. I could go into that later. If it's like something like water, if you jack up the price of water, that means one family doesn't wipe it out, and maybe having that extra water left over in the store means that other families who need it can come get it. So like during a hurricane, if you dynamically raise the price to, $100 for a 20 pack of water, that means one guy who isn't just out of an abundance of caution wiping out the whole store doesn't just take it all. And that means that, maybe the next family of 4 will have the chance to trade, an excess amount of money for something they truly need to live. So anyway, that's my quick take on scalping and how wonderful it is. But we're not talking about scalping. We're talking about flippers. Now, I know an individual who runs a store, and he has a very low opinion of people who comes in and buys books for the purpose of flipping. I don't personally find it that offensive because they have a profit motive just like he does, just like everybody does. And there's nothing wrong with having a profit motive. That's just life. But by limiting the book to one per customer, that means I have to be on the lookout for cars. Right now I'm chilling in my car, or rather not chilling in my car because I have my little stadium seat set up in front of the store, but I'm going to go hop in it as soon as anybody else tries to show up to get this button. But limiting it one per customer is nice because then you don't have a flipper come in, grab all of the latest hot title and sell them all on eBay. You have a chance to spread it out. And that's something that stores like Dr. No's will often do anyway. They'll limit, the purchase of a new book to one per customer anyway. But Bad Idea demanding everyone do that is pretty wild. My only issue with that is that they release first printings, and then they have what they call not first printings. So they only have 2 printings of a book ever. But according to their official rules, you can only ever get one or the other, which would be fine, except the not first printings have slightly different covers. They have sometimes slightly different content in the case of ENIAC 1. So that irks me a little bit. They're not a perfect company, but they are interesting and cool. Anyway, so that's rule 1. Rule number 2, must be sold for no more than cover price for 30 days from the street date. Again, that's something that's very bullish for the customer, but kind of bearish for stores. So they don't always like that, because a book does go up overnight, as do Bad Idea books. They sent out Hero Trade without alerting anyone that it was the first Bad Idea book. And the next day it was like $500. Now it's, $1,000 to $2,000. And the ENIAC 1, as soon as that launched, that was like $100 book. It's cooled down a little bit to about 60, but still. Rule 3, Bad Idea comics can be offered for pre-order, but cannot be shipped to anyone before the street date. I don't have much to say about that. Rule number 4, must be displayed in the highest traffic section of your store. So that's another thing. It's like, they're not going to let you just weasel into the program and then, abandon their books. They make it where you have to show off the books. Then let's see. Rule number 5, must prominently display promotional material for mandated time period. Again, it's kind of, they're just looking out for themselves. If you partner up with them, be prepared to do some stuff. Rule number 6, your order on the first issue of an arc is your minimum order on each subsequent issue of that arc. So that's pretty wild. And then they say failure to comply with these rules will result in your shop's removal from the program. And there have been quite a few shops that have been bounced from the program, either for selling stuff online for a higher price, etc. So when ENIAC 1 came out, the very first official launch title, I wound up I quickly figured out that the best way to get a copy, an extra copy, because I'd subscribed at the store to get some, was to use the keyword search on eBay, ENIAC destination. And man, that first day was wild. It was like Duck Hunt, where the dog would giggle and the ducks would go flying off. And as soon as these things went up by it now for the cover price, they were gone. So you had to constantly refresh and be vigilant. So that was the thing, the first salvo of Bad Idea. They did all that. And then they amused me greatly, because after this, they had initially announced that there was going to be a particular backup feature in one of the issues, and then they sent out this email to retailers that said, "Oh yeah, we lied. It's actually going to be in a different issue." Now all they meant was, that it had been moved, but everyone thought it was really funny that they were like, "Oh yeah, we lied." What kind of retailer talks like that? And they do just a lot of trolly things. They're very strange, but they did bounce a couple people out of the program early on, and it was like a public execution. They did it they put their fucking heads on spikes on Twitter and said, yeah, this store is no longer part of our program. And they also sent out these buttons, which they didn't tell anybody about what they were for or anything like that. And then they made it clear, whoever bought the first book got it. The buttons went to like $500 initially, because they're so rare. And by the way, there's only about, I think, Key Collector Comics, that website / app. I think somebody on there calculated there's only about 1,251 of each button prior to the first redemption program. That is extremely rare, guys. That is. Let me put it in card game terms for my card game watchers. When the very first ultra rare card ever printed, which was Star Trek CCG, came out, it was a card called Future Enterprise. That was limited to 40,000 copies, and it was still considered ultra rare. 1,000 is not rare. 1,000 is scarce. And that's one of the things I like about Bad Ideas. There is scarcity. And when you go to their site and look at the list of participating destination stores, it is so weird. Like there's one in Belgium, there's like two in Georgia, the entire state of Georgia. There's like seven in North Dakota, which isn't even a real state. It's a CIA front. It's strange, like the way it breaks down. California, as you'd expect, there's a lot, but they do these other things that irk people, and I just find it funny. Like, okay, so they announced at one point that they're going to go out of business. They're like, oh yeah, bad idea. Yeah, all of our detractors were right. We're shutting down. And by the way, everybody has to pre-order our final 5 books, sight unseen, for this bulk price. So they did this thing called the Final 5 pre-order, and I wound up doing it both here and at another destination store in New York, and they gave you a sticker, and so it's like, ooh, first buttons, now stickers, and they're like, hold on to this sticker, and there was like, what the fuck is this sticker about? And what it was that one of their books was called Passive Aggressive. And if you lived east of the Mississippi, you got the aggressive version. If you lived west of the Mississippi, you got the passive version. And so the sticker you could redeem along with like $9.99 money order to get the other version. And so that annoyed some people because they're like, well, wait, you're not doing variant covers. Oh, here's the other thing. Yeah, they said, yeah, by the way, we're not doing variants and we're not doing trade paperback collections. And I think ultimately because, Bad Idea, the company did break into the top 10 publishers. It was a happenstance of alphabetization a little bit because there was a 3-way tie for the 10th place. Because they started with the letter B, they were given that slot. But they've been extremely successful. So when they announced, oh yeah, we're shutting down, like obviously they're going to reorganize, and I think one of the biggest reasons they're doing it is so they can put out trade paperback collections. Because while the books are beautiful, the spot gloss on them looks amazing. The art, the writing is all high quality, and you don't get that rushed feeling you get from the other publishers where it's like, yeah, they had a deadline and they had stockholders they were beholden to. No, you don't get any of that. They feel like beautiful, meticulously crafted indie books, and they're great. What are some of the other things that tick people off? God, they've done so many things that, oh, well, a lot of this stuff is related to, the print runs and stuff like that. Like, one of the final 5 books, Odin's Eye, and another one, Pirate Queen, like sold out immediately. And because of the paper shortage, they're not printing extras. So whatever your initial order was for that, that's all you're getting if you're a retailer. And that's a little frustrating because, if you're trying to grow a brand or whatever. But I love them. I'm a big fan. I've got duplicates of a lot of them, but one of the ones we're all waiting for. I live obviously in Georgia, so I got the aggressive version of Passive Aggressive. I sent in my sticker and asked for it back, and they did send my sticker back. But they on Black Friday a couple weeks ago, they're like, hey, our Black Friday sale is, do you want to buy back the sticker that you sent to us? And so they keep doing these things where people have to send these $9.99 money orders in, and then they don't really ship a lot of stuff out. It's funny. But yeah, I don't know. I think that this year, after they wrap up the final 5 titles, they're going to restructure. They're going to rebrand a little bit, and they're going to figure out a way to sell trade paperbacks. They're probably going to expand to a lot more stores. So for me, this is the golden era. This is, in Magic terms, this is the alpha print run of this company. And I've got a lot more to say about them in the future. So particularly as collectibles, I've got one of their books that I'm going to target as a targeted buyout if I get the means to do so. I don't want to say which one yet though, or why, but that's something that's cooking in my little pea brain. But I hope everybody's doing all right. It is chilly. I got a 15-minute video here, so I feel like I did something today. But I just got to keep an eye out for my competitors, and I will talk to y'all in a little bit. Das Vidanya, y'all. Bloop.